The fifth and the final vital ingredient that we've seen makes a very significant shift in terms of the power of performance management in increasing behavior and in getting commercial results is about shifting responsibility. Now, if like the first four are all about shifting responsibility from HR to managers, but it doesn't stop there. The vital thing is that individuals feel responsible for the quality of their performance conversations, that they see this as the chance to do things, to learn more, to grow, to achieve their life ambitions. And part of this is about the engagement up front, selling in the need, selling in the benefits, but it's also about helping people think for themselves how to shape their career. Here's a study we did in an organization. About 120 people took part in this study, and we ran 2-hour sessions, not dissimilar to the Shaping Future session you're going to go to, called Pathfinder. And at the beginning of Pathfinder, you ask, to what extent do I flourish at work at the moment? Flourishing is a really good measure. For all sorts of reasons, it correlates with emotional engagement, rational commitment, and so on and so forth. So what extent do you flourish around here? And people kind of say, I get a 5 or a 6 or whatever it was. So we then said, well, imagine your career 3 years out. What would you be doing in 3 years' time? And most of them in this organization can kind of work it out. It's a really good organization. It provides clear career paths. I can see where I'm going. So you say, okay, well, then on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give yourself? How would you be flourishing there? And they kind of went 7, 7.5, and 8. So well, that's not good enough, is it? So we then spent an hour and 58 minutes working out how those individuals could turn their 7.5 or 8 into a 9.5 or a 10. What could they do differently in order to make that career in 3 years' time that they were absolutely flourishing at the end of it? And here are the results, the pre and the post. We also did lapse measures as well. So I can take control of my career, up 20%. I feel in control. This is just a 2-hour session. You think if we made this part of the sustained approach. I know where to look for career opportunities, up a massive 40%. I'm confident I can get what I want from my career, around 20%, and my future at this organization looks positive. These two had significant increased shifts at 3 months later as well. So there's a lapse there. So there's this big piece about giving people responsibility and helping them think differently. There's a great Anais Nin quote, which is things are not as they are, they're as we see them. And this is a lot about helping people see their career differently. It's not to be given to me, it's for me to shape and control and manage. So hopefully we looked at the why this matters, the business case. We looked at the what, the 5 vital ingredients, and to a degree we've all seen how close we are to delivering those, and some are indeed closer than others. The final point that I want to share with you is about how to get there. Because we can have these lovely little talks and go, that's really interesting, great research, but what do I do? How do I make it practical? Now, it wouldn't be the Mind Gym if we didn't come up with a practical solution to show you how it can be done. So here we are. The solution as a structure will be familiar to many of you. We've got a 5-step process: diagnosis, engagement. This is really, really important. How do we get people on board? How do we sell the need before we go into the learning and evaluation and some kind of sustainment critically along the way? And I'll explain in a moment how that works. But I'm going to focus on those first 3. The first is the diagnosis. And that, in effect, you've had a go at that. You've just done the subjective, I think that this percentage of people in my organization will meet these criteria. The way to do it is then to go out and send the questionnaire to real people in your organization. Survey the whole organization, ask them the same 25 questions, and see what answers are. Is it really 75% you think this, or is it 25? Or do we really think it's 12% and actually it's 62%? So let's get the real data, real facts, and find out where we're doing it. The second piece is about engagement. Now, different engagement works for different audiences. I don't know whether you can see the slide on the left here. This worked in an investment bank. I know we have a few investment banks present. Which way is your career heading? Big issue, Fortune magazine. That was quite punchy. But it was all about the message of take control of your future. We also run a workout called Performance Management, Why Bother, which is about selling in the need. And the research from McKinsey and from a range of others on why change programs don't succeed is because we haven't sold in the need enough. So getting this bit right is really, really important. The third bit I want to talk about, and I think this is perhaps the most radical of all, though I think each of them have their difference to them, is the way we structure learning. And what we've just done, part of our corporate social responsibility, we run something called the Parent Gym. And the role of Parent Gym is to help parents in socially deprived areas become better parents. And there's lots of research that shows the one thing that most correlates with school grades, interestingly enough, is parenting. Not the school, not the curriculum, not the teachers. It's the quality of the parenting, criminal behavior, social mobility, a whole range of things. Parenting is the thing that most affects that. So we've designed and run a parenting program that is already delivering amazing results. I mean, qualitative results like I've stopped hitting my child since I came on this program. That's a good result to have. Other ones, like my partner said, most of them don't have partners they live with, but my partner said before I came here, I hadn't shouted for a week. And I thought, why is that? and it's because of something that they've done on the parent gym program. It's a 10-week program. We run it in schools in Northern Ireland and Southwark, and we're running it out in other places as well. But the reason why I share this story is we're constantly learning from what we're doing in one part of our lives to apply it to another. And one of the things that became very clear in this parenting program, where we're taking a very difficult group of people, engaging them up front so they turn up in the first place and last for 10 weeks, but also, more importantly, applying what they learned back at home, how to use the naughty step, how to develop a treasure hunt, and so on and so forth, is that what matters is not the event, but what happens in between the learning events. That if content is king, context is the emperor. So what's critical is we design the learning structure so that there's something to do in between times, and we come back and review how we did. And in essence, it looks a bit like that. So you learn something short, quick, and sharp. You then have a go at doing it. You have some homework. You might call it an inter-session task if you wanted a fancy name for it. But it's kind of homework or something you commit to do. And then you come back and you say, I had a go at it. What happened? In the parent gym, we ask people to write on a scale of 1 to 10 how much effort they put into their homework. Just effort. And those who put more than 7 in, we ask them to tell the story of what happened. And in the first week, it's like 3 out of 20 have done the 7. By the end, they've all done at least the 7. Because the peer group, the review, the understanding, the application. I tried Naughty Step, it was a nightmare. They kept shouting, I couldn't get them to stay. I had that as well, but then I tried this, and so on and so forth. Well, the same thing applies to managing performance. It's not so different from being a parent in many ways. So the structure is to make sure that we're doing this in a distributed way, where our focus is what happens in between, rather than the big learning programs that we perhaps traditionally had. And then you won't be surprised to hear that Mind Gym has a whole range of learning sessions that are designed to suit these different requirements. But the important point of this is yes, the sessions are here, they're well tested, they're ready to run the workouts, which are the 90-minute workshops to learn practical things like great feedback, and the live actions, which are like real plays, role plays, sort of thing. But the key is that one size fits no one, and that different parts of our organization will be scoring differently against different of these ingredients. So we can tailor and design the program to suit the specific requirements and needs or priorities of a bit of our organization. We call it mass customization. There's a report recently about organizational development should be called organizational decorators. And the idea here is that when you do your homework, you don't go, I'll design my own wallpaper. Maybe this is the fabric I'd like for the sofas. Let me design those. We tend to go to a selection and we pick the bits that we like and we combine them together. And a lot of OD work is either completely bespoke, we're designing our own wallpaper, or it's off the shelf. We get the standard kitchen from Magnets in the brochure and in it goes. And actually what we need is something that combines those two, which is what's called mass customization. So we can assemble and draw, I'll have that bit of wallpaper, that kitchen cabinet, I want to change the handles on that, and then we can combine a solution both much more quickly, be much more likely to be trusted, and see therefore more ready to go and deliver at scale. So that's some thoughts on the way in which we can start to address this challenge. I guess where I want to kind of conclude at this stage before inviting our panel to share their thoughts and reflections and be interrogated by all of you, which would be a magnificent thing to watch and take part in, was to talk a bit about, when I talk to HR people, I say, what are your dreams, what are your ambitions? And they talk about being taken seriously by the board, being treated as an integral part of the business, having an authority and a credibility. Now, I'm quite nervous about discussing people's dreams, because I think dreams is a dangerous place to go. I was speaking at a big event with about 700 senior people from this organization the other day, and I was at this dinner, and the guest speaker was a kind of big management guru, and he was giving his great talk to everybody across the business. And I turned to his wife, who was sitting next to me, and I said, I bet in your wildest dreams you didn't imagine that your husband would be speaking to all these incredibly senior people. And she turned to me, she said, Octavius, in my wildest dreams, my husband does not feature. So I'm definitely going to be careful about trying to read your dreams. But if one of your dreams or aspirations or hopes is to be taken seriously by the board, and people often think, what do I do to do this? I always give the same answer. And the answer is this, is give value to the business and demonstrate it with numbers. Now, if people came with a system that improved IT system improved productivity by 18%, or a marketing campaign that increased customer loyalty by 15%, or a strategy that was 40 times more likely to be in top-performing organizations than underperforming ones, your board would embrace it with open checkbook. They would be straight there. And yet with dynamic performance management, we have something, not just one of those things, but does all of them. and the check is an awful lot smaller. So thank you for listening, and I ask you to think about what we can do to bring this to life and to give value to our organisations. Thank you very much.